Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us.
It's always a good day when Wellesley Arms is in Chicago.
Shut up.
The band named after a hotel for lovers.
That's right.
If you didn't know. Who didn't know that? You didn't know? Oh, shame in the front row.
I like the honesty. It's okay.
All right, the Hotel for Lovers.
I would say it's like 50-50 when people know or don't know. And when they do, they're not 100% sure, so they come up and they're like, I have to know, is it? And they get so excited when they're right about it. So
And then what's the first line they pull from the skit?
usually something about the hot tub, or is this your first time at the Wellesley Arms?
Yeah.
I always get the spiced meats.
Yeah, the
That
lots of
was where it's
spiced
going to
meats.
go, like a pound of... We were sweating with lamb meat.
Yeah.
It's been a while, man. That's the SNL skit, by the way. I don't actually sweat with lamb meat. Only on Tuesdays.
It's very funny.
I
If
do.
you haven't seen
All the
it,
time.
it's an old Will Ferrell sketch. It's very funny.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
favorite.
So let's talk a little bit of history of the band.
Okay.
So Wellesley Arms actually started a generation before you, kind of. The roots
Yeah, I
were
guess
kind
you're
of
right.
set in motion there. Can you explain
Yeah,
that?
some of us were buddies in high school and had played in different bands together. And we all sort of went our separate ways in the college era.
I was actually talking before that.
Oh.
Was it your father?
Oh, wow, you're going like really
Way,
deep.
way
yeah,
back.
Jimmy
Before
over
you
here.
even a glimmer in your parents' eyes.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, I can't believe you knew that. Jimmy and his dad and my dad were in a band together when they were in high school.
Isn't that
And
cool?
never introduced us. We had to find each other through other avenues. But then he came over to my house one day, and my mom was like, "You look really familiar," because his dad was the best man in my parents' wedding.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Aw.
very weird.
Super small town? Or
Not really.
No?
I mean, Cleveland, Ohio, it's
Yeah.
moderate size. But
Okay.
the funny thing was, I didn't even live there until about that. I had moved there 2 years before that. My family had moved away from Cleveland for a little bit, and had just come back when I was like 16. So
Have you either of you heard your parents' music? Did you ever hear the band?
Never heard
No?
of
not the one that
never.
they have together, but you have a lot of good old tapes of your dad's band.
Yeah, I don't know though if it's the right lineup. I don't know if that's
Yeah, I
your
don't know
dad
who's
playing
in
drums.
that. And then I've heard some. My dad had a band that had a 45 that he was very proud of, and so we used to spin it at the house a lot growing up.
That's amazing. Those are amazing
Yeah,
memories.
it is.
I feel like your dad's bands should have a reunion.
That would be pretty
You know,
amazing.
like Wellesley Arms opens up.
Yeah, we'll
for
open
dad
for them.
band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be sweet.
Just an idea. Just an idea. So let's talk about how all of you actually began in music, because obviously you two go way back with your parents, but was it Brett's mom that gave piano lessons?
That's right.
Yeah, she's a piano teacher. So I always grew up with like 30 kids coming in and out of our house for lessons. Yeah,
And one day you were like, Mom,
Yeah.
cook me up.
I had to listen to it. So I remember thinking one day like I could play that better.
Was she hard on you, or were you like the straight A stellar kid?
I think
'Cause-
I was pretty brutal on her actually. So
Oh God.
I had to eventually like find a different teacher.
Oh yeah.
Because she wouldn't teach me anymore. Yeah.
That's really funny. What about you, Mikey? How'd you first get into music?
It was actually forced upon me. I really didn't want to play music. I wanted to play the trumpet really badly, but I could not blow into the mouthpiece correctly. So I tried woodwind, couldn't blow into that mouthpiece correctly either. And so the instructor basically just handed me a pair of sticks. He's like, "All right, you're going to be a drummer." And
Just beat on stuff.
yeah, and my parents kind of like got me some private lessons and stuff like that, but they said like, "Okay, this is the instrument. You have to play this until senior year, and after senior year, if you don't want to play anymore, you can, decide to quit." So I kind of just stayed.
You stayed
I stayed.
because you were like, man, chicks love drummers.
That's right.
Well, maybe.
We're glad you stayed.
Me too.
And Bree and John, who are happily married. Congratulations,
Thank you.
by the way. And you're two beautiful and talented boys.
Oh, look, you know my history. What's
She
my
is good.
social?
Sorry. We'll talk
The last
later.
number.
I did open up a credit card in your name, by the way.
Girl with the shop in Chicago.
Make them payments, get my credit score up.
How did you guys originally get into music?
Yeah.
My mom pushed me out in perfect pitch. I just don't remember not doing music.
Ever, yeah.
Ever. I mean, in so many capacities. Everyone says they grew up gospel. My dad played trumpet and trombone, and my mother is a concert vocalist. So I heard music a lot in the house. And, yep.
For me, church. My
Yeah.
mom, I think my mom recognized I had some kind of musical talent, and she would get me little xylophones, little instruments and stuff like that. And I grew up in church, so I didn't kind of have a choice with that. It was like, you're gonna sing, you're gonna do something.
Have all of you actually done time in a church band?
Almost.
Almost all of
Yeah,
you?
that's funny. The three of us met in a high school church band. And then I think, Jimmy, you're
I
probably the only
avoided
one
it.
that
Might be the
totally
only
avoided the whole.
He was the lucky one.
He was
He
a
got
rebel.
out clean. But yeah.
Okay, so
have-
then the original incarnation of Welshly Arms was just the four of you. Was that before? That was in high school? Or no, that was a different.
It was end of high school and then like first year of college before everybody kind of went off and did their thing.
Where did everybody do their thing?
It was mostly high school. You ended up in Seattle for a little bit. I went on the road kind of right after that, and Brett ended up joining me out on the road, and we backed up a female pop singer for a while, and then you stayed there for a little longer, and I went into an Americana band and toured, and then finally kind of just got worn out and stopped touring and was staying at home. And Jimmy was back by then. Brett moved. Actually, Brett lived in Chicago.
Yeah.
He went to school here.
That's right. What
Loyola.
school?
Loyola. Chicago. Yep.
Go Ramblers.
Rambler. Yeah. Sister Jean or
Mary Jean.
Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still kicking ass.
Wow, taking names.
Hell yeah.
So he had just moved back around that same time, and I invited the fellas over to just jam and have a little barbecue, and it's sort of just, it was so fun that we decided to do it again the next week and the week after that. And then I had a little basement set up where we could just jam, and I had a little bit of recording equipment, and so we started recording the jams and put out an EP and did another EP, and then we met these two and did our full-length record and invited them to come sing on it, and it was beautiful, of course. And we were lucky to have them start joining us on shows. And so it was really kind of that, once we put out our full-length record, that we really feel like we started
Yeah.
the band for real.
I agree. Actually, the music coming out of Cleveland is so diverse. You've got like Nine Inch Nails and Joe Walsh and Tracy Chapman and
Yeah.
Bone Thugs and Harmony and
Yeah.
Chimera and Filter. How do you feel like the city has influenced Welshly Arms?
Yeah, I think there's sort of a gritty, and I don't think it's just Cleveland, but sort of the region, like the Detroit, the Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. There's like a lot of, in Akron, of course, with the Black Keys. A lot of that kind of gritty, just sort of some kind of emotional soul music that comes out of there. Obviously Detroit too, and so I think there's something in the water, or maybe it's the sort of it's a hardworking town, and we watched our parents kind of hustle and work hard, and I think that has kind of shaped the way that we go out and treat our job as musicians, and then also what we write about and kind of how we play our instruments. So I think that grittiness of sort of a steel town kind of comes out a little bit.
It might not be the water. There might be something in the beer.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, that's probably
shout out to Coors Light, by the way, the world's most refreshing beer, for hooking this all up today.
Thank you, Coors.
Would you guys like to start us out with a song?
Sure.
What are you going to play first?
How about a song called Indestructible off the
about it?
latest record?
Can you tell us a little bit about this song first?
Sure. This one was kind of, we started writing it musically first because we just wanted something that had that kind of feel and was a little bit more fun than some of our bluesier soul stuff. And so we kind of started with the groove and the riff, and then I had the line Indestructible. And, we have Legendary. We have a couple other songs that kind of have this like, let's go get it, and I felt like it needed to go the opposite direction and sort of talk about someone else that's indestructible. So this is about a woman that I was never gonna be able to get with.